snacks. What it do, snackers, snackettes, and snack X's? It's your boy Gage. I am in the building with Sin and with Jokes.
Yo,
And we
yo.
are pleased to have with us Hef Streams and K-Dizzle of the All Dressed Up podcast.
Thank you.
You all are now tuned in to Loading Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week and we talk about things that are happening in pop culture. And today, again, as you can see, we got special guests in the building. What up, Kidlet?
What's up, Kidlet?
Long time no see. Looking forward to seeing you soon. We have to address the new elephant in the room. Bird Gang.
Is it a new elephant? I mean, I feel like that elephant's been here for a few weeks now.
The elephant got a trophy now, bro. So yes, you know what I'm saying? Last week it was like, you're gonna see it regardless of how it goes. But considering how it went, Bird Gang. That's all. You know what I mean? That's all, right, K-Dizzle?
Gang, go Birds. That's all I know.
Yeah.
How we live.
Oh, Sam, we gotta show them the WWE Super Bowl trophy or the title belt.
Right.
You may want to invest in that, good sir.
Hey. That's a real thing. So look, we actually have a lot to go over today. What's up, Si? But obviously first, we're gonna talk to the two gentlemen who you see on your screen who are not normally here. Now, before we do that, Joe, you have a job to do. I'm sure you're already on. Don't forget the Beacons link up for you guys so that you can follow us across social media everywhere we are, because really we try to be everywhere you might happen to be currently, sometimes still in places we don't even want to be, but that's how it works. So get that blue sky. Yeah, Sam, I'm so glad Abbott Elementary won the Super Bowl too. You know what I mean? I'm gonna hug you when I see you. I'm gonna hug you anyway. But Sin, you got a job to do. It's gonna be a little different today. Somebody's in the building with us.
That's all good though. We can knock this out. So let's shout out our top tier patrons. Started with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dorch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, Ellis Bay, and Kermit Ferguson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
Indeed, we do.
You see the alien. You see the aliens, right?
That's
that aliens up there when you
that K-Dizzle DC. So let's jump right into it. One, I want to thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the show. I know we talked about it, prior to, and it was originally supposed to be next week, but we had a little bit of a snafu with the person who was originally going to be here this week. So now we just kind of swap. They'll be here next week. So I know it was kind of last minute. So really appreciate you guys jumping in and being able to be here with us on this very snowy evening. So thank you for that first and foremost. And now what I want to do is I just want to get right to it. So this is how I want to break this down. I want to start by asking what is, and I'm whichever one of y'all feels like you can feel this best, just take it. What is the All Dressed Up podcast?
Go ahead, Hef.
Uh-oh.
The All Dressed Up podcast is one of those spaces that we created, K-Dizzle and myself, that takes the everyday conversation and dresses it up. So we play on those words because we're the All Dressed Up podcast, but everything's welcome. Like the table is there. We welcome everybody. We really appreciate the live interaction, and we're all about the people.
Yeah.
Just to put it first and foremost.
And I think what's different about our platform is, again, we do talk about those conversations that you have off camera, off script, that just happen. We put it live, and we do it every other week. And the cool part about it being live is that we always invite people that are watching the show to either come on the show and share their opinions right there and direct. So conversation can go a lot of different ways in a lot of different times. When you're watching your favorite podcast, sometimes you're not agreeing with it, but you have a point you want to, you might want to interject on. You don't have that opportunity. So we give you that opportunity as a listener and being a part of it, that you don't normally get, and you can be a part of the conversation and really have an impact on it. So, shout out to y'all for bringing us on the platform.
Absolutely, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That shows love to us, and we love you guys. We watch it whenever we can, any time possible. So
we love it, man. It's really hard for us to jump in when you guys are on. What's up, Andrew? Hey, you do the same, man. Stay safe out there. Stay safe out there in the snow. You know, we always do our weekly meetings every week, always on Sunday night. So they always just happen to correspond with when y'all are doing the show. But I always try to pop in when I can. You know what I mean? And then y'all are always saying something, and I'm like, I got to say something. I got to say something. I got to get in there.
Now the beauty of the Gauge is we are on Spotify and iTunes and everywhere else recorded, so you can always catch up.
And you know, so here's the other thing. One of the things I love about y'all show is the fact that people can call in. So you have a live number, and people can actually call. So it's not just like we do this live. People jump in and they do the chat, and we've actually discussed the concept of doing like a call-in show. We don't want to do it all the time, but we've considered just doing like a couple of one-off call-in shows or something like that. I want to talk about what that really is for you. Like what does it mean to you? Obviously you're doing something that's different, and I get that you're getting an interaction. You're giving people an interaction that they don't normally get when they tune into a podcast or something like that. But what does it specifically do for you to be able to interact directly with the people who call and talk to you?
You want me to answer that, Hal?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, what that does is when we're having these conversations and these tough conversations, like you said, people have opinions on them. We always want to provide the perspective that they normally won't get by not being able to interact. And so when you're having a conversation, you talk about something that's important to you, and you feel like you got to get the point across, you can either come on either telephone, you can either do it in the chat, or you can come straight on. We'll bring you on a video, no matter how crazy you are. We get a little too crazy, which we've seen a couple times. We'll cut it out. But it gives you, we open up the platform to allow you to express your feelings, but again, to give you a different perspective in a different way that you might not have thought about it before, which helps open you up to the idea of, hey, if I'm looking at this right, or I need to look at it from this aspect or this line of sight, which helps everybody else who is in the chat who may be feeling the same way, who doesn't get that opportunity or didn't want to call in because of whatever the reasons are, albeit they're shy, they don't want to put the name out there or whatever the case may be. So we love that because it helps us too. It helps us too on helping build a better foundation of seeing what is important to our audience.
Yeah.
And that's what matters the most. We want to talk about things that the people who watch us really care about. And more importantly, they want to learn more about and see some other views on it. So that's one of the cool things that we get to do every time. We don't always have people on, but we always have people in the chat, and we always encourage people, hey, call in, text. Now we got some regulars. Found some wild regulars that come in, and it makes the show that much more fun to do every other week. So,
and what I want to add really quick is like I appreciate that people actually like engaging. Yes. Like a lot of podcasts have great orators. A lot of people can talk very well, and we have people that get excited that talk to us and DM us throughout the week on Instagram, different methods of communication. They come on the show, and like they feel comfortable, and I appreciate that. Because it takes a lot of courage to come out and talk live on a platform that anybody can see. So kudos to everybody that stuck with us, and we really appreciate you guys very much because we've had so much fun. Not to pat ourselves on the back, but I laugh. I say, K-Dizzle, we've done 114 hours and more of live podcasts.
Yeah, it's live.
It's tough, man. It's not easy. I tell my friends, like, scripts are great, but if you don't have one, it's not for the faint of heart.
Right.
Hey, pat yourself on the back.
100%.
Like when you do that, hey, pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
That's real. Like I would say that I do encourage people to give themselves kudos. For doing what you do, for kind of putting yourself out there, for making a decision. When you decided that you wanted to create something that was going to give other people a platform to be able to speak and to be themselves, the truth of the matter is that's always dangerous because you really don't ever know, especially live. You really don't know what people are going to say. You don't know how people are going to act. And that is always it can be a little tricky for
We had
sure.
our moments. We had some moments.
For sure.
So yeah, I mean, you do have to, and the thing about it is you learn, as you do it, right? And you kind of figure some stuff out, and you know how to make changes and what have you. What was the genesis of doing the podcast in the first place? Why did you decide to do it?
Go ahead, Ham.
Well, to speak for myself, guys, and that's a great question. I've always had a love for like being in media, like being on the microphone, and I think I was more concerned about not being a nerd growing up as a kid, and like looking back in hindsight, if I would have kind of let that complex go, I would have probably gone farther in media at an earlier age, in my opinion, because like I was the kid hosting school assemblies, emceeing different things for the school, doing morning announcements and things like that. And then like I get older and then I realize like, oh, I miss it. I miss being in front of a microphone and talking and communicating. So that was my thing for me personally, K-Dizzle. And when the pandemic happened, I just noticed everybody jumped in the podcast wave. And I was like, hold up, I've been saying I wanted to do this now for the longest. Like, I'm not a podcast, COVID baby. We've been wanting to do this. And I linked up with K-Dizzle, and it just took off because I'm not going to speak for you, but it was just a great partnership.
Yeah. So we know each other through work professionally, and the work that I do, I'm always talking. I'm always talking to people on a consistent basis. I'm always holding meetings and everything. I'm used to it. But where this podcasting came from was Hef had said, hey, we were a group of guys. It was about 4 or 5 of us.
Oh, yeah.
We started a podcast. Well, we were starting a YouTube channel, and we were recapping the first season of Power, right? So we were doing Power recap videos. And I'm literally driving to Baltimore with with an iPad and a phone and a camera, and we're in a barbershop recapping Power episodes that we started doing consistently. And then when that kind of faded a little bit, because people weren't showing up, this, that, and the other, how things go.
I know how it goes, yeah.
Half came back and was like, yo, let's put this podcast thing together. So, we just jumped on. We said, all right, we're gonna do it. We originally started once a week, and we just started having fun with it, man. We just really started having fun with it. We have a professional relationship, but also a business relationship that we go on both hands. And so we know each other so well because we worked side by side for so long that it's easy to throw things back and forth with each other. And you see that when we're on, when we're on podcasts like this, or we're talking on our podcast. So, we just love it. We love it. And some days, what's crazy is that we do this, and we script it out because we have to, because it's live, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes we're so busy we don't get to it, script it out. And we say, all right, what you want to talk about? All right, what you talk about? All right, boom. And we go on live 10 minutes later. And it actually, some of our best episodes have come from just going off the cuff and doing that type of thing.
Just talking to each other.
Yeah, talking to each other, but more importantly, we talk about current events, and then the audience gets involved and sometimes pull the conversation to a different way we weren't expecting. So that's one of the things that we really love about it. And again, we're gonna do it till the wheels fall off, until we can't do it no more. And we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out that from there. Our next step, I think, we've been talking about it probably this year, is getting to do like a live show with the audience. And so
I was going to ask about that. Like, what's the next thing y'all really want to do? Like, what's next level, or what's the plan, for y'all? And I think that would be dope. Actually, doing an in space live, having a live conversation, that would be dope.
We already been talking. We've been talking about that for the last, I would say, 6 months. So that's going to be coming soon. It's been manifesting in the air. We got some things rolling into place, and it's going to be exciting. It's really going to be exciting. So who knows what the future holds with it? We're just going to keep doing it because we love it and we enjoy it as much as we do.
Yeah.
And as with anything, like you can see online, anybody's doing a podcast. I know we're going way left on it, but everybody's looking to monetize, make money, monetize. If you love what you do and you're actually contributing to the conversation or the community, those things will come when it's supposed to. As long as we stay consistent with the things that we're supposed to do, and feed the people who are listening to us good information, that is when you're on the right path, and the things will come when they're supposed to. As long as we stay consistent with what we're doing. Same thing with you guys, which is why I make sure, I contribute and watch you guys when I do. So shout out to the Loaded Snacks too for just bringing us on here on your platform and sharing your audience with us too.
Absolutely.
Giving us a platform.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Look, what's important to us. It's always been important for us to give back to the community, right? So whether it's something like Extra Life, or whether we're doing shirts for breast cancer, or even something like this, like, it's Black History Month. We want to bring on Black creators. We want to show what they're doing. We want to introduce our audience to people who are doing things that we think are cool things, people who are part of the community, who are giving back and putting something into the community, adding to the ether something that's, that's worth it. And so, to have you guys on and really to see what you have done over the time that you've been doing it, it's been great. You know what I mean? Just to watch it and to see some other things blossom from it. And we'll talk about some of that, but real talk, just like shout out to y'all for like making the decision to do something. I think so often what happens to a lot of people is they really want to do something and they just never get started. They just never do that first episode. They never play that first note. They never, you know what I mean? And sometimes you just have to do it and start doing it. And then you build a rhythm and then it turns into a thing and you can kind of get it there as you go.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I do want to know, give me the skinny on the origin of the name All Dressed Up. I heard a little something in terms of like dressing up the conversation.
So basically, like, I was throwing out names, and I used to always say, like, the phrase, or they were all dressed up. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was something that just sounded good to me. Like, if a person did everything they could to, like, run a route, they ran the route perfect, the ball was thrown perfect, the ball hit their hands, and they dropped the touchdown, that was all dressed up. So I kind of used that to play off of, like, we have everything that are real. Not to say we're not real, but like a famous podcast type show would have, we're kind of all dressed up. You know what I'm saying? So I played off it and I just like it. And I think K-Dizzle went with it. And it made sense to me. Hopefully it makes sense to y'all. But that's kind of where it came from for me. And then, of course, we tied in because, we do dress up these conversations that are on everybody's minds, and like we given that platform. Like, how many people do you know that can actually give you an opportunity to come talk about some of these things? Like you said it yourself, Gage, you'll listen to a show and you'll be like, damn, you'll have an opinion. Like, this is that show. And we're going to hit on everything that's on everybody's minds and more. Like, we've had conversations that I'm still proud of to this day. Not to take it again too far, but that's why I say it's all dressed up. It's like we're taking everything from the mud and we're putting it all together and serving up like a beautiful masterpiece to the best of our ability.
You know what? I mean, again, I love that. I do want to know what, over the time that y'all have spent doing it, give me like from each of y'all, like two of your favorite topics, two of the things that just stood out, good, bad, or indifferent. You know what I mean? Let me get two from you, Harry, two from UK.
Two for me?
Yeah.
All right. So we had a conversation. We said, is marriage a commitment or a contract? Right. We talked about marriage and whether it was a commitment or a contract.
Yeah.
And the answers that we got from people, like people that got in, like I know personally, it made me think, okay, it helped me understand how they think about things, right? How they think about, one thing about your friends is only to the depths of the conversation that you ask.
Right.
You don't go any further and that in most situations. There's very few times where you'll have rare conversations where you're vulnerable with that person, right? And you only have like one or two people in your life that are like that. So when you have conversations like, is marriage a commitment or a contract, that gives you a sneak peek into how that person thinks on a relationship level, on a love level. So now you have an idea of when they're speaking advice or they're talking, you can understand what perspective they're coming from versus where you stand on that same topic. So I thought that was eye-opening, and it helped a lot of people understand, the difference between a contract and what a commitment is. It helped define people like that. Another one that we had was, I think we had a buddy, Mark Nebo came on, and we were talking about a situation where it was gun violence. It was a black guy that got shot by a white police officer, or a black woman that got shot by a white police officer, and we were talking about whether he was justified in what he was doing, and Mark Nebo being a white guy, and we were having that conversation, and then me having a background of law enforcement in my family, with everything that was going on in that time, people were like, oh, well, Hev was like, hey man, I had people like they wasn't with you, Kerm. They wasn't with you, K, on that. And I had other people saying, well, I understand your viewpoint. So we don't shy away from having a difference of opinion. Right? Sure. And the great thing about it again is seeing that different view, because everybody has different backgrounds. And so if you're open to have that conversation and talk about it, then again, except from the beginning, if you get just a taste of it, just see it. Hopefully that opens your perspective later on when you're dealing with other people in life. So those, I think, were the really two strong ones. I think commitment in the contract one, and the violence part where a police officer shot a black person. So
you got a couple that stand out to you?
Absolutely. One of the episodes I was really proud of was gender fluidity and raising your children gender specific and non-binary and binary definitions and all that. And that was also a part of us having a guest, and it was a very touchy topic to have. And again, we're live. I'm not necessarily media trained per se, and we're taking on a very deep conversation. And we're laughing, but like I care about people's feelings. I don't want to say anything and offend somebody off of my ignorance of the conversation. So I asked a lot of questions to this person who actually raised 2 kids and didn't necessarily, I guess, label them a gender and allow them to be raised in a different way. And again, we gave them a safe space, and I was just really proud of how we, I think, handled the conversation. We allowed that person to communicate, tell their part of their beliefs, because I might not have necessarily agreed, but it was again displaying how we can disagree about something and all feel good about the conversation. And that's what that episode really stood out to me. I was proud of that. And then we get ratchet. We have a lot of fun too for entertainment. Like we had some guests. I can't remember what the topic was when we had Francis here. We had a guest named Francis.
Oh God!
And she was tore down. I'm gonna probably leave a message after this episode in the comments what that episode was. But she was a guy. She was tore down. I mean, fried from the floor up. And like we were trying to navigate not being rude to her, but it was still funny too. But I think it was a relationship episode. But I think you guys the type. But it was wild.
I mean, look, I know that again. When you're navigating live spaces, man, you don't always know what's going to happen.
Yeah, she had serious daddy issues. She was cussing about her dad, and her boyfriend wasn't ish. I was like, woof.
She was letting her life be out. She was letting her life out.
She was in the hallway of the apartment building. It was in the middle of the hood. It was
okay, one of those. Got it.
It was real out there. And you know what though? I mean, again, you do have to be able to. You created a safe space for that person to let it out of their system, right? To talk about it, to get something out. Like as tore up as that person may have been in the moment, they might be that way because they don't have an outlet. They don't have somebody they can go and talk to. They don't feel safe saying what they need to say. And sometimes people just need to be able to get it out of their system. You know what I mean? And when you really think about stuff like that, when people are that upset, when they're that angry, when they're really getting it out of their system, there's a reason why suicide hotlines exist. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just got to be able to get some of that stuff out of your system. So, again, being able to create a space where people can talk about whatever's going on, whatever's on their heart, whatever's on their mind. And look, be judged, but be judged safely. Because there is a, you know what I mean? Like, you're not just necessarily going to, like, one of my favorite things about doing Loading Snacks with Sin and Jokes is that we get along because we like a lot of the same stuff.
Right.
I like them because they don't like the same stuff I like.
Right.
That's an important thing. Again,
Absolutely.
we get along because we like a lot of the same stuff.
Mhm.
I like them as people because they're different from me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So one of my favorite things about Sin is that he disagrees with me about things that he likes versus things that I like, which is cool. Go like your stuff in your corner, you know what I mean, or whatever, or display it proudly on your wall. You know what I mean? Like that's, and yeah, same thing for jokes. Like I do think that there's a, you kind of you do that for each other. So like, look, not everybody's with the Bird Gang.
I
You know
mean,
what I'm
look
saying?
at us. We
Wrong
Commanders
Bird
and Eagles, man. Same
See, that's
same
what I'm
show.
saying.
We go back and forth every episode. I give him his run. I let him have his fun.
He's still living on that one win during the season.
Sheesh.
I mean,
No
like
Jalen
it's
Hurts
cool.
yet.
Again, I think stuff like that is important, and I think that the kind of platform that you have goes a long way in helping people understand what it means to be people, right? And so I think that's really dope. I do want to take a minute to just acknowledge, have the Climb Back series that you've been working on. I do want to talk about that a bit. Can you just spill the beans a little bit on what the Climb Back is, what it is, let people know where they can go and find it, because it's really dope. I really love it. I think it's great. You should be really proud of it. So talk to me about the Climb Back, please.
Thank you. So the Climb Back series is something that I actually thought about a few years back, and I was trying to find out how I could get this series actually in production, where I could get started. So the idea of it is everybody has a Climb Back story. Like K-Dizzle always refers to the underdogs. Like America loves, the world loves the underdog story. So a lot of people now that are sitting in their places of like business or whatever programs they do or whatever work they do in the community, they want to tell their story. So I said I want to create a space to where I can have a conversation where people might have not have had the best upbringings. They might have gotten into some trouble growing up. They might have had some losses, and you would think they would have given up. The average person might look at the person who went through some of these hardships and say, "Wow, I can never do it." But that same person who went through all that they went through, we're sitting in their restaurant having that
Right.
conversation, or we're
Right.
sitting in their barbershop next to their beauty supply store having the conversation about how they did a 15-year jail bid, but now they totally did a 180. They love the community. They're all about the community, and we're glorifying the Climb Back. So
Right.
I love it. I'm proud of it. It's on Hef Streams Media on YouTube. The series again is called the Climb Back series, and I'm really hoping that people just reach out to me to tell their story. Like
Yeah.
I'm 8 episodes in. I was blessed to be able to meet a lot of people through some connections that had some big resources that were able to tell the story. Some of those people were like Chantel Green. I had Stokey Kennedy, a lot of big time people who contribute to the world. They came out of Baltimore City. I had I have some big interviews coming up, so I'm just proud of it, man. Some great stuff.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Fooley, your cameraman. Shout out to Pete
Absolutely.
Green with the setup. Shout out to, I think the first one we did, it wasn't for the Climb Back series, but shout out to Sean Bay Mitchell, man.
Shout out to Sean Bay Mitchell, man.
Sean Bay Mitchell, hometown legend. We went out to his juice shop, and
Yeah.
that was the first off-site interview that we did. That was right before the Climb Back series. And again, talking about setting up the ADU podcast, had we not started this and been consistent with it, that's one of the proudest things I am of us doing what we do together, for the Climb Back series to come out of it and grow and see his baby come to fruition. So
Yeah.
I'm just a cheerleader on the sideline for seeing it and watching
I
it.
appreciate that so
Really
much,
dope.
man.
Really, really dope.
I appreciate that so much. And real quick, I just want to say a lot of the Climb Back series came from all the exercise that I got with the All Dressed Up podcast.
Yeah.
Because when I go into these episodes, these conversations, I don't really write questions down.
Yeah.
Like I realized in my first 2 episodes, I had like an actual like question list set up, and I was looking away. It was awkward, so I let it go, and I kind of go in with the mindset of where I want to go with the conversation. But then wherever it turns, I can kind of let it flow, and then we're not really over editing and cutting out. Like I said, I learned a lot from the All Just a podcast, and it's really helping out big time with that transition.
It's a more difficult thing than I think most people would be able to give you credit for for being able to handle what it means to deal with questions, to deal with people, to kind of do that stuff off the cuff.
Yeah.
You know, this show we do an outline. 90% of the time, I don't tell them anything that's happening. They can kind of guess because they know we're going to cover like pop culture news stuff. But I generally prefer for them not to know because I prefer for the conversation to be more honest and just kind of what you're thinking at the moment, you know, in the time. I think a lot of times you get your truest self when that happens. And not everybody's good at that. Not everybody is comfortable. And I'm talking about answering questions like that without getting, you know, some knowledge ahead of time, especially when you put a camera on them, you put a microphone in front of their face, you know, and that kind of thing. It does that to people. It changes it. So again, just, you know, look, super shout out, you know, to the two of y'all for what you're doing. I did drop jokes. If you would grab the link out of the chat for the all dressed up Instagram link and just drop that in the chat for everybody. I just want to encourage everybody to go there and follow the gentlemen and what they're doing. Follow the other links that they have there so you can see everything that they have going on. Add them to your regular podcast rotation, please, because they're doing good work. Really interesting conversations, great stuff. Kay, have you been doing all the music production for the show and for are you behind all that?
I am.
Of course you are. Of course you are. How long have I known you? Hey, how long have I known you?
Oh God. We're probably right at about 20 years.
Yeah, it might be. It's probably a little longer than that. Yeah, man. Listen, proud to see what y'all are doing. I love it. You guys want to hang out with us and talk some pop culture stuff?
I love to, man. I want to say one thing real quick too, because like I really want to thank you guys for this opportunity, man. Really appreciate you. You guys are somebody that we look at as our role models. I speak for you, K-Dizzle. Like you guys been doing some phenomenal things. I've been watching you, so keep doing what you're doing, and really appreciate you. So thank you again for the opportunity.
You're welcome, man. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that is always nice to hear for sure. Let's talk trash about what's going on in pop culture because that's really what we do. I mean, you know, they just throw news at us and we just jump in it. Jokes.
Yo.
PlayStation Network was down over the weekend.
People were pissed.
Oh, and listen, first time I saw that the network was down, I was just like, all right, either y'all gonna fix this in like the next like 15 minutes, or we about to have a whole thing like we did a few years ago.
And when you sent the message, I jumped in real quick just to check, and it looked fine. Then I went to the store, and it wasn't acting too good. I was like, yeah.
Is that what it is?
Hey, Dizzle, don't do that. Hey,
Y'all not gonna do us like that. Y'all not gonna do us like
that. You know, yours Master Chief, mine Spider-Man. Like, we ain't got it. We don't have to do that. Yeah, look, here's the thing, right? It's not like Xbox Live hasn't gone down before. It happens, right?
Yeah.
Like, it happens. This isn't like... I think the problem this weekend was how, like, radio silent Sony was about it.
Yeah.
So... the network went down at like 6:30 on Friday, give or take. And it took a little more than 24 hours for things to get back up and running, right? Which, like, you know, it always sucks to have something like that happen on the weekend, right? For a lot of people, it's like getting off work, going home.
About to come home.
I saw people, you know, the open beta for Monster Hunter, you know what I'm saying, was this weekend. I saw people who were like, dog, I can't. I'm trying to get on the beta. I'm trying to see what's going on. You know, I'm going to tell you what's worse. I saw people like, hey, dog, I can't watch Crunchyroll. Right?
Real thing?
That's this past weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people were disappointed. Like, they acknowledged it like 6 hours or so into the fact that it was down. They acknowledged that it was down. And then they didn't say anything again
Yep.
until it was back up, right? And I think that bothers a lot of people because I think it just makes a lot of people afraid. Look, when you talk about having one of the greatest, worst outages of all time, it's PlayStation, right?
Oh yeah.
But that outage wasn't just like, oh, the network is down. That outage was like, nah, people
got
they
hacked.
they got hacked. Like people got your credit
Bro.
card information, they know your
Bro.
names and addresses and all that kind of stuff. And I just think that that's a really terrible thing to do to your customer base that is paying you for a service and you're not saying anything, and they have those kinds of worries in the background, and you're not telling them nothing, right? And then when you do come back, you're like, all right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna give everybody 5 extra days of PlayStation Network.
Right.
And people was like, and here's the thing, to be honest, it's very fair. Like, you lost a day, we giving you 5. Like, it's very fair, right? But I think that not hearing anything
is what really
from your corporate overlords,
Yeah.
About what's going on. We're working on it. We're trying to do this, not knowing if it's a DDoS attack, not knowing if they got hacked and people have your information or whatever. I just think that people feel like they should get more from it because they're afraid that there was something else that was going on and they weren't just down.
Yeah,
Look at Andrew. There were games like last time. Exactly.
Yeah, well, I'm a free game.
If you got PlayStation Essentials or whatever, hey, listen, they gonna say, listen, you already have tons of free games that you can go in there and download and play. They gonna give you nothing.
You got 2K money that was muffed up. You got Madden money that was muffed up over Super Bowl weekend.
Where's my VC, Daddy? Where's my VC?
It's just
exactly.
It was just a terrible PR situation. It would have been better if they would have gave every 2 hours, some type of form of communication saying we're working this. This is what we're doing. This is where we are. But like you said, to just go dark, in 6 hours and then, 18 hours later it comes up and then, hey, this is what we're going consolation prize. That does nothing for the people who have it. And the internet went crazy.
Oh, cool.
TikToks, all the memes everywhere. Talk about you can't play what I can play and so forth. It was just crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah.
That's why I told you get off PlayStation. Come on over.
What's funny is, I guess it's not really funny. But you're kind of right about that. Look, again, if the same thing happens, to Xbox, for a lot of people to be the same way.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of people, their issue was, I think the bigger issue at hand here is it scared a lot of people, right? Because the all digital future, which is very real, right? Which is really real right now. For people to not be able to play anything that they quote unquote have ownership of, which really they have a license to play it, right?
Yep.
You need to make your PlayStation your home console, which a lot of people just ignore. Like I don't know why it's not an automatic thing. I feel like it should just be automatic. I don't know why they don't do it. But I literally listened to podcasts over the last couple of days where people are like, yo, like I'm talking about professionals, like people who work in the video game industry who are like, I have a PlayStation at the office, right? Because we have work that we have to do. And then I go home for the weekend and I need to continue because I'm reviewing something or I'm supposed to be writing up something on Monster Hunter or whatever. And I can't even access my saves, right? And then somebody was like, well, you're not that far from the office. You just shoot over there with a USB drive and plug it in and download your save and then, go home and upload your save. Well, you can't do that anymore. Yep. You could do it on PlayStation 4. PlayStation 5 does not allow you to download your saves at all anymore because they have monetized cloud saves.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Your stuff is saved to your console and that's it. And if you want to be able to take it somewhere else or move with it, you have to be able to take it somewhere else. What's up, Heather?
Hey, Heather.
You can't even put it on a USB drive and take it with you.
And what I think too, Gage, really quick is like people just wanted to know like how bad was it? Like give me some type of damage control. Like I get it, it's out, but all my information's in there. How bad is it? Just check it.
Right.
Do we get hacked? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that says that they're still not going to tell you. And I think the other reason why people are concerned about it is because if you remember the last couple of times that happened to Sony, it took them a long time to admit that they have been hacked
Mhm.
and that people's information have been garnered. And in some cases, I think in some ways they maybe are unaware. Like we talked about it on the show before. PlayStation Network rides on Amazon Web Services. I don't know how tied Amazon is to that. So for them to go down, if there's a DDoS attack or something like that that specifically targets PlayStation, it's got to go through Amazon, right? And so if there's a hack, if something else is happening, do they have to go through them to even find out? Like, how tied into it, are they even? And like, if your information, quote unquote, belongs to somebody else under a circumstance like that, you just don't know who's got it, right? So, again, I think it spooked a lot of people in terms of, again, this digital age, right? There are people like, all right, is PlayStation 6 going to have a disk drive? I mean, I wouldn't put a disk drive on it if I was Sony.
No.
You know what I mean? Now,
physical media is almost dead. Literally almost dead. Because everybody wants you to, like you said, pay for the license. Nobody wants you to physically own anything. The only thing that has traction is vinyl, but that's like a cult following. But everything else, DVDs are gone, Blu-ray, all that stuff is trash. So everybody wants you to pay for the license, and you don't own it or you don't have it until once the moment you stop paying them $10 or $15 a month. So
that's it. Now it's not yours to even use anymore, right? And again, if you make your console your home console, you should have access to it even when you're not online, right? Like if they're but to have a lot of single player games that don't quote unquote require you to be online to play them, you still need to be online, in order to access them. So I just think it's one of those things that spooked a lot of people. And so them going down had, I think, bigger implications than a normal, just like, oh, whatever, PlayStation was down for a day. You know what I mean? Because that's really all it should have been, right, Sim? I played something down for a day.
Yeah.
Go play Xbox. You know what I mean? Go turn your Switch on. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't even be that big of a deal.
Go log in the Crunchyroll on your PC. Like,
you know what I'm saying? Like, log into it on your phone. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
What do you mean? Right? And your phone should be, you should be able to take what's on your phone and send it to your TV. But look, I don't.
Right.
Everybody's
don't know what your setup is like.
It's interesting. But then to follow a weekend like that and then come out today and be like, oh yeah, we're doing a state of play tomorrow.
You gonna talk about doing your hack?
Sin. What could they possibly be showing at this state of play tomorrow?
I'll be 1,000% honest with you. I have no clue. I have zero clue what they can. I know they got stuff in the pipeline coming down. I was trying to think of what it could possibly be.
Right.
But nothing's at the forefront of my brain right now. Besides, I know they've been rumoring this Last of Us 2 remake or whatever. Like, maybe
with the show coming out, there could be something.
Yeah, maybe we get some type of first look at season 2 or something like that. I mean, I'm not really.
I would hate if they did that at a state of play.
Yeah, I would too.
That doesn't belong there.
Jokes, what do you think? What do you think we might see?
Honestly, I think we're going to see a lot of the games that we've already seen with some extra little details, but probably some release dates. I feel like there's a lot of titles out there that I feel like they've talked about that don't necessarily have. They have release windows maybe, but not an actual release date. I know a lot of the gaming companies right now are trying to hold tight because of Grand Theft and trying to hold on to dates because anyone that releases a game that same day or like that same week is like gaming suicide. You don't want to do that.
So, just clear the runway for them.
So I think maybe we'll see a little bit of that, but I know a lot of people, they're just trying to hold off until Rockstar gives us a definitive date on GTA 6.
So I'm gonna read what the PlayStation blog says. It says the state of play is back tomorrow, February 12th. Tune in live for news and updates on great games coming to PS5. The show celebrates a creative and unique selection of exciting games from studios around the world. That doesn't sound like anything major to me. It doesn't sound like necessarily PlayStation first party. It sounds like maybe some smaller indies,
indie type of thing,
or something like that. Or it sounds like some hate. And I'm gonna tell you what that means to me. There's a part of me that thinks that there is a slim possibility that we see Forza Horizon 5 from Xbox at the state of play.
That will be hate for sure.
I mean, there's also a part of me that thinks we might see something from Indiana Jones. We already know it's coming for PlayStation. It's announced, but all they did was announce spring. Yep. They didn't give us a date. So we could see that and get a date, right? Andrew, they specifically said they were not doing any Spider-Man 2 DLC.
Cancel that.
Yep, they said they weren't doing it.
Go back to do New Game Plus.
Again, the unfortunate thing that Insomniac had to lay off some people, right? Ted Price, who has been running Insomniac Games from the very beginning, just announced that he's leaving, right? So he's been making the rounds, doing interviews and stuff like that. So, you know, the regime over there is changing a bit. We know they're working on Wolverine. They're not going to show that. That's like a we going into E3 mode kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like that would be like its own thing or something like that when Wolverine comes out.
That's like one of those secret things that, you know what, hey, we forgot one more thing, and then give us like a
by the way
type of thing. And then
I'll be honest, I don't even think they're gonna do that. I think honestly, if anything, so I thought maybe Death Stranding 2.
I think they are showing Death Stranding 2, and I only say that because I saw someplace they had a picture from Death Stranding 2 up there when they were talking about it. I don't know if it was from Sony or whatever, but
well, here's the thing. Death Stranding, they just announced that they're going to be showing more of Death Stranding 2 at South by Southwest.
Okay.
That doesn't mean they won't show anything tomorrow, but just the wording that they have in the blog doesn't make it sound like
it's any of those major. Yeah, it's exact. It's almost seems like it's going to be like an ID at Xbox, where at least they tell you specifically, hey, these are going to be like the indie titles or these other studios that are working on games. I think it would be a little bit better if they introduced it that way, because with a lot of people, when you say state of play, like this is supposed to be like the big games, and we've seen a couple of them where they've come out and they have just been those smaller third-party companies. But you know what? I'm cool with the companies coming out with games. You know what? Hey, more games, whatever. But a lot of those are not for everybody.
It's also rumored that they're talking about God of War as well.
Right. So
I did hear that.
There have been some rumors about something God of War, but we don't know what. Again, that also doesn't feel like a February. Although there's been rumors about a God of War remaster, like going back to the original games and there being a remaster or a remake. There has also been talk, and I can see this happening, of so the ESRB just dropped a rating for Xbox like yesterday or the day before for Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6. So there is a possibility we could be either looking at a re-release, a remake, or something like that. And Capcom's been on a pretty good run in terms of like having either a brand new Resident Evil, so like Resident Evil 9, which I don't think that would be this, or a remake of one of the older ones, whether it's Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1, or possibly doing 5 because they did do 4.
Hey, they give us 5. That's a problem. You know that.
Let me
yeah, you know I know.
Yeah.
Let me say this. I think you guys talked about it a little bit, but I'm gonna say this. I'm kind of gassed out at where we are as the gaming industry right now, because everybody's so afraid to invest in the new IP that we keep regurgitating the same stories over and over again. I cannot, Death Stranding 2, I cannot get into the apocalyptic mailman with great visuals. It's just
100%.
It's tough for me to do that. And another God of War, I'm like, okay, I've played this 5 times. What other cutscene kill are you going to give me that's going to going to entertain me more than what I've already seen. And now I got Wolverine coming. I'm like, okay, are we going to have the God of War Wolverine version that is just like that, how that plays? So it's just
I
a
feel
matter
like
of,
it's probably gonna be like Spider-Man,
yeah,
but
it's
it'll be
going to be
Wolverine.
like Spider-Man or something to that nature. So I think we are all gasping for air, looking for a new IP that's like really going to set the tone for the next era in gaming, because we're going so far to the point where the graphics are phenomenal. It doesn't matter what you do, and the transitions and everything is going to fantastic. Now we really got to get back into what the storytelling is, and I don't know if we'll see that before GTA, or if we're just going to continue going that route where we're just going to have bigger games of older franchises that just keep becoming money grabs. So I'm just
I think what's happening right now is like the industry is imploding on itself.
Yeah.
Right. So, you have AAA studios shutting down, laying people off, all kinds of things. Right. You have studios that are scrambling, studios that are at, what you consider the pinnacle of, you're talking like Electronic Arts, right? EA, right? So like Madden does what it does every year, but they just talked about how FC 24 didn't perform, right? And it always does. But this is the first year they didn't have FIFA on the license. You know what I mean? And they're like, we could do it without FIFA. We're not paying y'all for the whatever, right? So they didn't have FIFA on it. Dragon Age underperformed. So what's happening with BioWare, right? Again, not a new IP, but they tried to refresh it and do things a little bit differently. And for the people who love it, a lot of them were like, this isn't what I want.
Right.
And for other people, they're like, this is cool because it's easier for me to get into.
Right.
And part of the problem is, one of the things that I'm enjoying that I'm seeing in the industry is that a lot of indie studios are doing things that are new and are fresh. And even though they look like 8-bit, 16-bit, games or whatever, a lot of them are smaller, they're more bite-sized, but they're focused on telling a story, they're focused on doing something new or bringing something new to a genre that already exists. So you get somebody that we're doing a Metroid type game, but we're adding elements that didn't exist before, right? Because we can do things we couldn't do before. I think the AAA studios are afraid to put money into something like that and just kind of let it breathe, because again, the corporate overlords and their shareholders and their buyers are being like, I need that Call of Duty money. What are you doing? Right. And there are people who are going, what happened to the Guitar Hero money?
Yeah.
What's going on with that? And then you got people who are going, well, Fortnite's doing it. Why can't you do what Fortnite's doing it? Right. Epic got money to burn.
Yeah.
Like they got money to burn.
Yeah.
Like they just announced yesterday that I don't know if Fortnite, Epic they're doing like their own thing that's kind of like Fortnite, but it's just Disney. And they're like, it's coming together pretty good. Andrew says, I think they might show gameplay for the new NASCAR game being made by iRacing. It's a Daytona 500 this week. Totally possible. I will tell you that Sony will not generally show anything that's racing that isn't Polyphony Digital. Well, I mean, EA has pulled a lot of their stuff away from other because they were doing their own shows.
Right.
But like, if it's not Gran Turismo, usually Sony's not showing it unless it was VR. And since they've basically given up on VR, like that's not happening. They said, here's a bunch of stuff. We're going to show you a bunch of stuff coming to PlayStation 5. They didn't talk about PlayStation VR 2. They didn't say anything is happening in that space. And, Shuhei Yoshida just left, and he was the person who was running indies. So, like, there's just a lot of turnover, I think, that's happening. And what's crazy is that a lot of the people that helped make the things that we did love when we were coming up are leaving.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who love the things that we love that are working in the industry now that want to do things that have corporate people who don't know nothing about games. Like, go make one of those because that makes money, right? So the industry actually is filled with a lot of great storytellers and a lot of companies that are doing things that are really great, but they're smaller, they're indie, and they're not really getting the big push because they don't have the money for that. But those companies, like the guy who did that game, Balatro, that game is like $10. They sold like 15 million copies. They had like a jump of 15 million copies after they won at the Game Awards, and he's developing by himself. You know what I mean? Like, it's just him. So and it's just a card game, but people are like in love with it. It's like a new
It
twist
was up for
on
Game of the Year.
So, right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
But
So there are things like that that exist. What we're missing are the really big tentpole kinds of games, like your Gears of War, like a God of War, but also, you said it yourself, like, we need new IP. But when you bring up Death Stranding, technically Death Stranding is a new IP. It only has one game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so when they spend that kind of money doing a new game that looks like that, if it doesn't move units, then what do you know what I mean? And so I think a lot of them have just gotten gun shy because what it costs to make a game that works like that and looks like, especially Kojima, because Slim just be bringing in actors from all over the place. It's like, dog, you could really just get people we never heard of. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're used to getting introduced to characters we don't know who they are. You know what I mean? So that works for me. But I just, it's not just video games. It's like that in movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What's the last really good new IP you can think of that came out and did numbers that released to theaters?
That's a good point.
Like it's everything. The issue that's hitting the video game industry as streaming and digital becomes an issue is the same one that's hitting, honestly, every other thing that we're getting. Like, again, I'm not super impressed with Dochi, but I understand why people feel like it's brand new. It's not new to me,
Right.
but it's new to them. So they're like, "Oh my God, look what Dochi doing." I'm like, "Dog, that's."
But another thing is like, don't put a whole bunch of effort into something that I don't care about, and then tell me how much effort you put in. Like,
I mean,
I hate to say it like that, but as a consumer, like, I want to hear what you did for me. So, like, me personally, like, every year I look for 2K to change. I know this isn't a big sports game platform, but 2K Sports just continues to rob everybody, in my opinion.
It's that VC.
You put
They're
everything
making so much money in VC, they don't have to update it, and they don't have any competition.
They're putting effort into like dancing and like having people come in and like do dance line choreography for the game as opposed to fix the basketball gameplay. That's crazy.
And you're right, but they don't have any competition.
True.
Like,
very
it's
true.
the same reason why Madden been fluked for so long, because they're
I
just
didn't want to say that, but I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just 2K was a better football game than Madden was.
Absolutely. Everybody knows that Madden, Madden.
And they bought it out. They like,
EA bought that out. Madden featuring 2K.
But if you think about it, back in the day, everybody, NFL Blitz was official NFL license. Yeah. NFL Quarterback Club was official NFL license. There was 2K, there was Madden. Like, it was all over the place. So anybody,
even NBA Live back in the day.
That's what I'm saying. NBA Live.
I need EA, and we talk about this more. I just need EA to get back into the EA big bag. Like, you know what? Let 2K run the true simulation with what they got in sports. Hey, listen, if they were to say that NBA Street was releasing next week on console, that game would be a top seller.
I agree.
One of the top selling games of the year.
I will tell you right now, the only reason why it hasn't been re-released is because they can't get the licenses for all that music. All those musics and all the licenses. You're talking about people who ain't even in the sport no more. You know what I mean? On the cover of that joint, like
Williams,
you're not going to pay them, to get licenses. And like, you also got to remember that like And1's not popular anymore. When those games came out, And1 was everything.
Yep.
And so, like, if you was to put out an NBA Street now, nobody cares. It's just not.
I was thinking
like,
it's not 2K. It's not 2K. That's what they say.
That's exactly what they'll say, right? And they'll be like, "Well, I could just do the My Player."
Yeah.
Right. And that's as close as you get to it. Let me just go on the playground. Let me do the My Player. There's so much money. Like, look, you can complain all you want about how they didn't change the mechanics and didn't do whatever. But that bread keep coming in.
But there should be no reason that I should be competitive in a game that I haven't played in 6 years. Like, I can get on the sticks and play Madden right now and still beat the average Madden player because I played it so much 10 years ago.
Sure.
And that just says for something. I'm not trying to brag. I would definitely get cooked by somebody that knows the game. But like,
I mean, look, Andrew's got to, bring back Def Jam. I'm all about it.
1000%.
Who's
Definitely.
paying
And
to license all them rap people and scan them?
Nobody.
And
Nobody's paying the license.
who's paying for the licenses for their music?
Hey,
Joe
listen.
Budden to be all about it.
Oh, Joe
But
Budden would be.
the better question is, who are you going to want to fight with?
Everybody. I want to fight everybody.
DMX.
I want to beat up everybody, but I don't want
Yeah.
to use it.
Yeah.
You're gonna be 50 Cent. You're gonna fight everybody else. That's
That's
it.
it.
You ain't in the
Fine. And then you're gonna get the Fat Joe, and you're gonna run into a problem.
Yeah, we don't want no problems over here.
Yeah, we don't.
We don't want
We
no
just
problems
whoop
over here, jokes.
I mean,
We put them down.
again, like, look, EA as a company, they have a department that their entire department is just licensing. So, like, if you're in with them, if you were working with them, if you're doing something like that, it is actually pretty easy. If you were like an indie developer that's doing something under like the EA art, like their kind of art indie license or whatever, it's really easy for them to go and just get, all right, yeah, we can get the license for this. But you have to remember that when you do that and you release it digitally, eventually they're going to pull it from the store, right? It's not going to be available anymore because we only lease that music for 2 years, license that music for 2 years, for 4 years or however long that is. We can't go back and redo it, which is why like Rock Band isn't a thing anymore, and Guitar Hero isn't a thing anymore, and DJ Hero isn't a thing anymore, because it's very expensive to do that. And the people whose job it is to just go lease that kind of stuff, like, even that's probably on the, like, I don't know if we really need y'all anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's so much royalty-free music out there now, but like, if you turn on if you buy the new Madden, and when that joint comes on, if it's not somebody that is actually somebody, you'd be like, what is this trash? Why am I even listening to this? Right? So it's very difficult, I think, right now, industry-wide. Again, it's not just video games. It's some of everything. And when you have people that are competing for your time, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, it's not just video games. We competing with TikTok because it didn't go away, right? We're competing with YouTube. We're competing with your phone. We're competing for all of your attention and all of your time, all the time. You could barely go out on a date, you know what I mean, and spend time with your special person without them being glued to their phone some portion of the time, right? So if you are vying for their time from their phone, what do you think every single company, if you put out media, is doing, right? Spotify, even if you just listen, Spotify's on your phone, right? If it's YouTube, if any of those things they're all trying to get that attention. So yeah, you got something that's coming out to the theater, and they gotta tell you, hey dog, put your phone away when it's time for the movie to start, okay? They gotta tell you that before the movie starts, because people will just
be on all throughout the whole theater.
You know what I mean? And it's like they have to remind you, like, hey, go ahead, it's cool. But if you didn't put it down, what would you be doing? You'd be watching something else, right? So that consistent thing is always a problem. And so if you go to introduce something that people never heard of, if you want new IP, I never heard of it, I don't know what it is, you got to ask yourself, well, what looks cool about it? What's the reason why I should even bother with this thing? And so for somebody like Kojima, it's like, well, because it has Norman Reedus in it. So if you like Norman Reedus, if you know who he is, saw him in Walking Dead, even if you didn't watch it, you know who he is. He's in this game. We're telling a story. So you should give me $70 and deliver these packages. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's give me $70. Let's drop off these packages.
My man Daryl delivering packages.
They did. They put Daryl. Look, for me, he's still. Hey, listen, he's still the weak slim from Blade to me.
Yeah.
He's always gonna be Daryl.
Cheating familiar from Blade. That's who he is to me. Like, I don't even. Daryl Dixon. I never watched The Walking Dead. I don't care about that.
But see, I let go of The Walking Dead for the same reason why I let go of some of these video game franchises, because they just rob your time. Like, don't just steal from me. Like, you got to change something to show me some effort. I'm Sadiddy. I'm a bougie fan. Like, I don't want to watch 12 seasons and you hire a whole new team of writers just to get me to watch another 5 more. Like, wrap this shit up or make it better.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm not mad at that. I will ask if you're watching Invincible right now, because good Lord. Woo.
Yeah, go to Amazon Prime and watch Invincible.
I'm watching Paradise right now, but
Yeah,
that's
Okay.
different.
Okay. I'm not mad at that. Jokes.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles busted down on Sunday.
They did.
But while they was busting it down, in between that, Marvel dropped the new Thunderbolts trailer. Can we watch that right fast?
They sure did.
Let's take a look.
It
See.
just popped up.
Please. I need to see
Cause
it.
well,
Let's talk facts. The Avengers are not coming. Who will keep the American people safe?
There's some big threat out there, and you are gonna help me stop it.
Us?
Yeah, you. Why, you got someplace to be? I love that guy.
you all right, Tim? Pop that inhaler, though.
So none of us comply? So we have just punch and shoot?
I can't think of a worse group of people trying to work together.
Everyone here has done bad things. You can't escape the past. Hey, it's like your mind is somewhere else.
So you can do something about it now, or live with it forever.
This could get messy.
No shit. You thought you were gonna be some great saviors? You can't even save yourself.
We can't do this. No one here is a hero.
Lena, when I look at you, I don't see your mistakes. That's why we need each other.
Okay, that was really good.
We are the Thunderbolts!
Can't call ourselves that.
God, thank you.
This has makings of team that can rise to glory. Bring light from the darkness. This team can be the heroes on the Wheaties box. With a little giddy toy.
Alexei, you slept?
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
I'd like not to die today, so maybe somebody else should be driving.
Jokes.
Yo.
Shout out to Ellis. Somebody help send Scooty trailer. He needs help.
Hey, listen, dog. I'm like,
Oh.
dog, pop the inhaler, hit mute, take the jump off, grab some water, do what you gotta do, baby. You know what I mean? Like, take care of yourself. You ain't got to force yourself to stand in here and watch this.
We do have to do a show next week, so I would like you to make it to next week, sir.
I will make it to next week.
Live.
All right, we gotta make it to the next wrestling episode. So, like, you know.
Oh, we gotta take it.
All right, look. Here's what I want to do. Right, I want to talk about what we just saw for real. I kind of want to dig into that. People were just kind of like disappearing, like they were like turning into shadows.
Yeah.
And just ghost. So I'm pretty sure. All right, look, I've been trying to avoid this. We haven't really talked about Sentry and who Sentry is because I hate him because he's basically Marvel Superman and I hate Superman. But what I will say about Sentry that is very different from Superman is the ties that Sentry has to the Void. And that version of the Void that makes him very evil. And Slim has done some horrific things to some people in the Marvel comics. And I didn't think they was gonna go that route in this. But seeing this trailer and seeing people just like disappear and seeing like the blackness like take over the city, I'm like, all right. Looks like they're actually doing the Void, which I don't think is supposed to be tied to the same Void from Loki and from Deadpool, but they could do that. You know what I mean? If they wanted. The other thing I want to point out that stands out to me, probably more than anything else, is that most of the footage from that trailer, Taskmaster is not there.
Yep.
That's what I know too.
So like, he got like 2 shots, and one of them is his back.
He got the intro. They labeled his name.
That's it. And then they said Taskmaster's name, and they were like, "That's it." I don't think Slim's gonna make it.
No.
Okay.
And I don't know if anybody's gonna care, or maybe Slim ends up in the void or something. I don't know.
Right.
But there's a part of me that's like, all right, look. I know that when they put out the promotional material and stuff like that, they're showing Taskmaster because they have to.
Right.
But looking at this, outside of what we had already seen from the trailers that they rehashed in this, which is like that first fight when they're like fighting each other and like Sentry is in there, I haven't seen any footage that has Taskmaster in it.
No.
Can't think of it.
Slim might not make it. That's where I'm at.
That's the one that Sentry's gonna kill.
Absolutely.
Somebody go eat it, and yet looks like it's gonna be Taskmaster.
So the prop bet is Taskmaster having an entire 17 minutes during the whole movie of screen time. 17 minutes. He's going to 3-minute action part, maybe 4, and then
that's it.
The other 13 cut out throughout the movie.
Taskmaster dies faster than Jada Pinkett did in Scary Movie.
Hey, look, could 100% happen that way. Because I don't see it. I don't. Slim is not there. I will be very, very surprised if Taskmaster makes it out of like the first 30 minutes of this movie. That's where I'm at. Ellis.
Hey.
Somebody got tired of seeing her in shots. I mean, maybe they was like, you know what? Just hit the dick. Take Youngin out. I do want to show this because we have on multiple occasions talked about the fact that the Thunderbolts has an asterisk next to the name. And they make it a point to like boom, 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 hit it out, and then hit the asterisk. And last week when we talked about it, I was like, I have a feeling what they're gonna do is they're gonna make them the Dark Avengers, and so they really aren't the Thunderbolts. They're really the Dark Avengers. That's what I think is happening, which still could be what's happening. But the international poster dropped for the international poster dropped for the movie, and in that there's the asterisk, and then under the asterisk, you know how like when you read something that has an asterisk on it, then like you go to the bottom of it and it shows you what the asterisk means, like what it's for.
There's nothing there.
So down at the very bottom next to the asterisk, it says the Avengers are not available. And they changed the design of the asterisk. Used to be a 5-point asterisk, and now it's 6 points. And then you have Sentry, who's only peeking through at the bottom by your length.
Yeah.
But only in the international stuff are they showing that and saying that, and then taking the action and be like, well, the Avengers are not available. So I think it could be partially that, but that is like. And she says in the beginning of this trailer, she's like, the Avengers are not coming.
They're not coming.
Also, Bucky had a congressman pin on.
Hey.
Okay.
When you see him sitting in that room with her and she's telling him like the Avengers are not coming, he has a United States Congress pin on his shoulder. Is Bucky a congressman?
Could be.
Or
somebody elected him?
Or he's security for a congressman or something.
Listen, because he lives in an apartment where he keeps his arm in a dishwasher, dog. Something, right?
Yeah, the math ain't mathing. Yeah,
he just wants to live a humble life.
I think we'll get clues to that in Captain America.
I think so, because like without, I think Bucky not assuming the Captain America mantle, at least as of right now, I feel like maybe this is him doing that next step that he could possibly, have some type of positive influence. So, you know what? We have Bucky Barnes, Captain America, Steve Rogers' best friend out here trying to do the right thing or something like that.
Hey, dog, I don't know if you can sell that because they're like, nah, he's an international murderer.
Let me just
He was.
Let me just say.
Ellis said, you better talk about Falcon looking baffled when he see a giant celestial.
You know what?
Why do I need to talk about that? He's not baffled at all.
Wait a minute. Washing vibranium from Wakanda in a dishwasher.
Yeah.
They drop pod. It's
crazy
work, my guy.
100%.
In the
100%.
Simple stuff.
Yeah. It's also, I do also want to point out that in that trailer, Bucky throws a punch with that arm, and Sentry catches that joint.
He catches that
and throws it.
Yeah.
And all I'm gonna say is, a teenage Peter Parker already did that.
Hey, listen, Bucky. That's his thing now. That's his thing now. He didn't had Spider-Man do it. He hadn't had the Dora Milaje. Just like rip that joint. That one was horrible.
That's smart. Yeah, Bucky is still a veteran from World War II, although he should be much older, and nobody should care. Nobody in the actual voting population should care that Bucky was a World War II veteran that then turned on them and was a Russian spy and murderer.
What? He's also a veteran of, I don't know what we call, like the Infinity War, the Blip. I got like the Blip. I guess he's a veteran from there because he was there at the battle. So I don't know.
You take away the arm, he done, bro. He done.
I mean, realistically, he got hands and he's strong. But like, okay, so look, again, we need to address. We have to address Sentry kind of. Ellis said, bro, stop this. Put respect on Bucky on Black History Month.
You white African.
The White Wolf.
That's right. Here's an interesting thing, and we never really talked about this, but I do think that because going into this movie this week of Captain America, still having the issues of the super soldier serum and them trying to make that a thing.
Okay.
Obviously, that's going to be a thing that comes up in this upcoming movie. Isaiah Bradley, the first black Captain America, was a super soldier, tries to assassinate. Okay, we have the Hulk, which, MCU wise is another. We're trying to recreate the super soldier serum. Boom. Now we have the Hulk. We end up with the Red Hulk. That's another super soldier serum thing. They're going to clearly give him that and do the Red Hulk thing. So clearly they're still trying to do this, still trying to duplicate it, right? Sentry in the comics was given the super soldier serum. He got a very different souped up version of the super soldier serum that basically turned him into Superman.
Yeah, he was
like
off of it, wasn't
he? Yeah, he got that thing. But it also like messed up his mind. And that's kind of what the Void thing is, and what have you. So the fact that we're still kind of walking this path of Captain America and super soldiers and the super soldier serum and trying as a country to replicate this thing. You got Red Guardian, who also is along those same lines. It is a constant through line. It also technically applies to Deadpool.
Yeah.
And to Wolverine as part of Weapon X and Weapon 11 and so forth. So they're all tied. And so at some point, as you bring mutants in that have all these powers, you have all these other people who come from this line of trying to replicate the super soldier serum, which has worked several times, just not necessarily the way they wanted it to. And then you have Falcon, who has no super soldier serum, running around trying to do super soldiery things.
Yeah, he is. Very much.
You know what I mean? With the shield and the wings.
And a leather suit.
Yeah. I mean, and it's an adamantium suit that I guess you could wash in the dishwasher. If you take it off and you fold it and put it in the dishwasher, you can wash. You know what I'm saying?
Suit now.
You can wash that joint in the dishwasher. Yeah, look, I'm super interested in what they're doing with the Thunderbolts. Marvel's kind of on a run right now. We'll see how Captain America does. I'm going to see it Thursday.
Yep.
We'll talk about it next week. We'll do a spoiler boys and kind of break everything down, and get that out for everybody.
Yep.
Between that and Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts, right now it feels like they're hitting on all cylinders. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're not watching the new Spider-Man joint on Disney, you are
life.
And Thunderbolts drops like, I think the week after Daredevil Born Again ends.
Oh, perfect.
And they're saying that joint is more violent than the Netflix joint.
Yeah.
So I already know there's a lot of people who just ain't gonna watch it. There's a lot of people I know who didn't watch it because they were like, first episode, it was too much for me. And I was like, oh no, that joint was perfect.
I'm starting my Daredevil run next week. Just to go back and watch the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, I've been in there, and it's real out here.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of those same MCU voice actors reprising their roles in this Spider-Man show. I'm gonna tell you what. I want to hate it. I didn't want to like it. That show is firing. It's firing on all cylinders, bro. Firing on all cylinders.
Hey, Sin, don't look at
it's too late.
It's too late. Damn it.
Too late.
You in the chat. You in the chat.
I want to use foul language so bad.
Don't.
I'm not.
Keep it clean. So look, we're gonna wrap the show up. I want to take a moment again to thank Hef and K-Dizzle for joining us. Please make sure y'all go and check out the All Dressed Up podcast. These guys are doing incredible work. So, look, I will tell you this. If you see Ellis pop up in your chat over there, you might just want to hang up. Like, but look, All Dressed Up, we're having K-Dizzle. Please just look, check these guys out. They're on every other Sunday, right? But again, on podcast services, so you can go and you can listen if you miss it on those days. You guys are on this coming Sunday, correct?
That's correct.
Right. So this Sunday, there's no football on. Y'all know what to do. You know what I'm saying? Some of us might be in Philly this weekend. Like some of us might be sneaking to the parade this weekend. I don't.
K-Dizzle just got finished watching the game again. He watched it like 3 times.
I did. I watched it 3 times.
You watched the whole game 3 times?
I watched it play for play, yes.
He's sick, man.
You know what's interesting about that, K-Dizzle, is how you just got finished saying how you want new IP and you don't want to keep saying the same thing. My man's like, you got him out here vying for your time. You rewatching this Super Bowl.
Rent free in my head for life, my God.
Listen, my man said, if Kojima give me another Norman Reedus game, dog, I'm out. I'll just go watch the Super Bowl again. Yep. I'm with it.
I just go put it up.
You know what I mean? I'm with it. 100%. Yeah, thanks again, guys, for coming and hanging out with us again. Everybody go make sure you follow these guys, jump on the Instagram, make sure you go and subscribe on YouTube. They're doing great work, so make sure you check them out. Again, we really appreciate y'all hanging out. Sin, you first this week. What's happening with the anime stuff this week?
New episode is in the bag that we'll be dropping for you all Thursday, 10 a.m. It's a news heavy one. A lot of stuff came out this week that we need to discuss. And we really dive into this world-breaking kind of episode we just had for Solo Leveling Season 2, Episode 6 that kind of broke the internet. Yeah, exactly.
My God!
As you see the reaction.
I watched that 4 times.
I've watched it twice, and I'm gonna watch it a 3rd time with jokes because
I had to go back and read the manga, the episode.
Yeah, the manga, yeah. So yeah, we really get into that conversation. So yeah, good episode for y'all this week.
I dig it. Jokes? What's happening in the world of wrestling? What's going on in wrestling chat this week?
This weekend, so we'll have a new episode of The Finisher coming. Looks like things are going to be. I believe I will be at NXT this weekend as well too. I'm expecting it to be even bigger now because of what Ellis.
Yeah, because we're just
put in the chat. Yeah. Funny enough, Tatiana sent me that, and I was just like, and then I just stopped for a minute. But definitely another episode coming. We're gonna be talking about some things. We're leading up to AEW has their Grand Slam happening. I mean, it's technically it's a regular show, but it's really created like a pay-per-view type of thing. It's in Australia, so that's kind of what they're
Okay.
selling it at.
Yeah.
But
The matches.
What time does that mean that's gonna happen?
that's happening at like 10 o'clock at night. So it gets
Right
it
after
one
NXT, yeah.
out of the
That's
way
not
of NXT.
terrible.
It gets it out of the way of NXT. So these two will literally come on. NXT ends, AEW comes on. So
Yeah.
right back to back with each other.
Gage.
Yes.
Sorry, I have to say this really quick. Shout out to moms in the chat for the fly. Shout out, happy anniversary to one of the greatest couples I've seen growing up.
Yeah.
Shout out to moms.
You know, we feel it in here. You know what I mean? That's a real thing. We gotta, we do it. You know what? I'll slide a little. It's my brother's birthday, so
indeed,
birthday to him.
Mm-hmm.
His youngest son's birthday is tomorrow, so it's really not his birthday no more. He don't even get that. It's a wrap.
Got the happy birthday in and said, nope.
Yeah,
move on.
We'll get tucked in. So this weekend, there is a high possibility that you will see one or two or some of us sneak into Katsucon. So if you're there and you see us, say what's up. Maybe we're working, maybe we're not. It doesn't matter. Technically, we're always working, and technically, we're never working, and that's how it goes. Next weekend will be at StellarCon, Pikesville. We will be on stage hosting the kids and adult cosplay contest, hosting the panels for Johnny Young Bosch, Christian Serratos, and for Veronica Taylor, who again is the voice of Ash Ketchum for like the first 8 seasons of Pokemon.
That's dope.
So expecting a really good turnout. Hoping the weather stays not like it is right now. But it'll be a good time. It always is. So if you're there, if you happen to swing through, make sure you say what's up. Come shake hands on the stage, hang out with us, all the above. And then stay at the hotel and hang out for the after party. What you do at the after party is not my business.
Long pause.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Hey, Sin.
It is what it is.
After party. It
is what it is.
It can get a little real. So yeah. So we have that, and then second week of March, we got BlurCon. BlurCon's coming up. We have 2 panels at BlurCon. We are doing the top 10 wrestlers of all time. Last year we did the top 10 wrestling finishers of all time at BlurCon, and that was crazy.
That was a great time.
That was fire.
Yeah. Asen got his belt stolen. Somebody showed up with the money in the bank.
And
cashed it right off the table.
Yeah, ran out.
Yeah. It was incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're doing the top 10 wrestlers of all time, and we are also doing our Being Comfortable Being a Geek panel. And Adam Butler, who was on with us last week, is going to sneak in and join us for that panel, so it'll be great. We're gonna have a really good time, so looking forward to that. And then there's a bunch of other stuff coming after that because it just kind of keeps happening. But we'll fill you in. We got Big Lick in Nova coming up. We got Otakon coming up. We got AwesomeCon coming up. So again, staying busy, out and about, doing things. What I'm going to do right now is thank everybody who hung out with us tonight, who's here right now. I greatly appreciate you. You are probably doing other things while you're doing this, and I'll even appreciate that. Those of you who can multitask, you know what I mean? It's a special thing that you choose to split that time and spend some of it here with us while we talk about things that are just really good to us. You know what I mean? And I hope that they matter to you. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be here. So I want to thank you for doing that. I had been letting jokes take us out of the show all last year, right? I'm giving them a break. I'm just making up new stuff when we end the show you know what I'm saying? because it feels good to me. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna get out of here. But before we go, I want you to know that greener grass might be AstroTurf. With that, we're out. Toodles and loops.
Loading snacks.